I love being an entrepreneur and hosting this top 2.5% global show to bring you authentic talks with successful founders of companies and brands. My entrepreneurial journey started after I was left for dead. Let's learn the impactful journey of today's guest now.
Ask the questions that you need to be asking. Utilize ChatGPT to support you with that. But perseverance, I mean, it's like Winston Churchill said, if you're in the dark, keep going. It really pays off because you're going to get somewhere.
That Entrepreneur Show, we're welcoming in a marketing guru. She's a founder of the Sacha Awwa marketing group, but also the host of the Uncomplicated podcast. They're on a mission to stop small businesses from wasting money on the wrong marketing strategies. And I think that can help a lot of people listening on here on That Entrepreneur Show. Sacha, great to see you and thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for having me, Vincent. I'm really excited to be here.
As am I. And entrepreneurs, as you know, things don't go right the first time a lot. We're already having some tech issues between the two of us as we get going, but now we're settled in. Of course, I'm going to be asking questions all about this amazing podcast. You know what I love, but I want to show her love to her companies, her lessons learned, and how she got there in just a moment here on That Entrepreneur Show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and keeping this a top 2.5% global show. We have another rock star heading your way. As I mentioned, founder of the Sacha Awwa Marketing Group, co-founder of My Marketer Mentors, which is a community built by small business owners for small business owners, helping them confidently navigate the marketing landscape. And SAMG, they bring clarity, strategy, and results to businesses that need it most. Today is brought to you by ComingAlive podcastproduction.com. And now, Sacha, we're starting at the beginning. Why did you want to become an entrepreneur?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. I don't, it's funny because I actually have a book coming out at the end of the year, and when I was writing my bio, this came up, and I think it was unconsciously conscious in terms of building up my trajectory into entrepreneurship. But long story short, just leading through what, life's obstacles and, being a full-time employee, working through a variety of different things. There obviously were certain situations that, I found myself in where I felt that I was never going to be happy unless I stepped out on my own. And unless I course corrected certain things that were done within, these type of companies. And I said, if I was running the ship, I would be doing it this way. So I think it really was the pain points of navigating internal, if you will, situations and politics that didn't get me to the place that I wanted to, or really was short-sighted from leadership that I felt that they could have grown in a different direction, but they didn't because that they had their own visions. Granted, I had my own visions as well, but not being able to kind of take a pool of other folks' interpretation was really what I think continued to push me out and push me out and push me out until I landed on my own 2 feet.
I think a lot of people can resonate with what you're saying. They're just not seeing their potential utilized in a corporate setting. And I know you're super ambitious, of course, a two-time founder. Once you got on your feet, right? You got out of the full-time hustle, the rat race, as some call it. What did you find most challenging about pivoting onto your own?
Yeah, I mean, challenging and pivoting onto your own is everything. It's a roller coaster ride, and I don't care what industry you're in. I don't care how much money you have backing. It's really this roller coaster ride of you're all of a sudden you hit launch, your website goes live, and and I work with this a lot with some of my clients is that they think that the flip of the switch gets turned on just because you hit live and the floodgates open and all your customers or clients or so on and so forth are going to come rolling through. I think the biggest thing from my side is just the business development of having a continuous pipeline of clients coming through the funnel. And that is the same true if you are in the B2C space in terms of, selling drinks or swimsuits or, whatever it is. You are also, going through the gamut of, what type of marketing and product market fit can we start to test and learn to start to see the volume of folks hitting our site and purchase flows and so on and so happening. So really, it's the pipeline. For both ends, it's ensuring that that pipeline is consistent, and how do we ensure to keep it consistent is the struggle. Even when you continue to grow, that's always going to be something that you need to make sure is consistent.
Sales is always hard. It's always uncomfortable. And as we scale, we have some people helping out now, but it is always something where it wasn't for me. I'm not looking to be sleazy or anything. I'll tell you exactly what it is, what you're getting from me, and then we'll go from there. A lot of people, I don't know, it's just everybody has that car salesman picture in their head, right? Of sale, and you always want to try to, of course, do the opposite. But I can give a shout out to a book I read, Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blount. A super good book that really helped me align a lot of my thoughts. Do you have any maybe tips that you can offer on how you're keeping your pipeline active for some of our listeners out here who may be really struggling with sales right now?
Yeah, so for me, I'm not of the marketer that's like, spray and pray method, be everywhere and anywhere, right? I don't think that that's the right way to go. One of my biggest things that I tell everyone and anyone, whether you're in the service industry or whether you're e-commerce, is win local to then grow national. Because if you build
Like that.
attraction on a local level, you will start to pick up awareness that is natural and it's organic, and you will grow organically. If you are a product company or a consumer-based company or an online company that's, let's say, winning in Chicago, your neighboring states and cities are going to start hearing about you, right? And it's just going to naturally, have a flow. So win local to spread nationally is something that I always say. And it's the dipping in to test and learn slowly but surely and knowing what channels work for you to then start to exponentially grow.
I love that. Well, now you're doing just that. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I want to make sure we spotlight and show love to your two companies. We can start with whichever one you like.
Yeah, so SAMG, so I have a do it for you and a do it yourself, right? So SAMG Marketing is my strategic agency that we help support entrepreneurs and tech startups in terms of, growth, right? So no matter what stage they are in their business, we come in, think of us like a McKinsey and Company, but on a much smaller level, where we really kind of induct the strategy to support. And it's not just the understanding of running a Facebook campaign or a digital campaign, but how can we really connect your business to your customers and where can we find them? So it's high impact at a low cost, right? Especially if you're a small business owner and you're a startup, you're not going to be, no one's ever going to have Nike budget, right? And you don't need Nike's budget to get to where you want to get to, but it's just slowly growing. And then my marketer mentors is an online based small business owner and entrepreneur community that we're trying to build. We also offer foundational courses. Number one is the SEO, which is your foundation of marketing, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. If you set it up from the get-go of launching your website, you're going to have organic traffic hitting your site, and a lot of companies don't do this. And then our community meets weekly. And we basically support each other in the sense of like, think of it like back in the days when you used to call 411 to get a number for like the restaurant that you're trying to hit up and make a reservation. Think of us like the 411 marketers where you're like, hey, I have a contract. Is this kosher or shall I go with this platform versus that platform? Can you give me some insight? This is where I'm in my business.
I absolutely love that. So you, of course, see a lot of wasted marketing dollars. I know you come across that. What are some of the biggest mistakes small businesses make when it comes to marketing?
Is listening to the marketing. And what do I mean by that? I mean, even as marketers, like you are bombarded by a variety of different campaigns that come at you once you start to gain traction online, right? So whether it is you're getting hit up on LinkedIn, you're getting hit up on email, you're like, I can 10x your business. First of all, let's stop with this whole 10x stuff. It's really getting out of control because nobody's going to 10x your business in 1 month. And be wary of those that really start to put numbers against what they're gonna gain traction for you because they don't even know your business at the end of the day, right?
Hmm.
And your business, even in comparison to another business that they've run that is in the same industry, is going to have different problems. So at the end of the day, it's just, don't pay attention to the marketing that's coming at you because even like a email system or a CMS platform like HubSpot, they have the overall share of the market because they're spending a lot of marketing dollars. So a lot of small business owners will come to me and I'm like, what email service provider are you on? And they're like, I'm on HubSpot. I'm like, why? Because they're like, oh, I got marketed to. So pay attention to how you're being marketed to and really try and get to the nitty-gritty of understanding where am I in my business? What does my business need? And
Mhm.
really get to know the right questions to ask, whether it's the tools you're setting up or do I really need a social media campaign? Or do I really even need social media as a platform? Because it's a lot of effort to post with zero return on investment in the beginning.
I love that. And you're highlighting it takes time, right? A lot of people I've come across, they want these instant results, even on my podcast production side. And I have to be transparent, like, hey, my first 5 or 6 months, I had a few downloads an episode, one or two or three or whatever. Like, it takes time to build. And I know the same with marketing. So, again, thank you for highlighting that. Everyone, don't give up. You do have to be consistent, stick around for a little longer. We'll find her website, how to get in touch with her, and how you can work with her. But I do want to ask for a little more advice. How can small businesses apply Fortune 500 strategies without that budget? You teased it before, so I want to circle back to finishing that because I think that's very, very good advice you can give.
Yeah, so think of marketing in a three-part process, and this is how I work my clients through the system. Number one, you have building your foundation. You can't live in a house if you're not laying the bricks.
Mhm.
Number two, and what is that? And before I go into number two, the foundation part is the most important part. A lot of companies come out into market and they're like, "Yeah, I know my vision. Yeah, I know my vision." Or I know my mission. And they're like, oh, I know my customer or my ideal customer profile. You know, one ideal customer profile. Guess what? You probably have four, five, six, seven of them. And you're missing out on utilizing different marketing channels to reach them. So, what is your foundation in building your house? Ensuring that your website is in a good place, ensuring that the content that you're putting on your website and other platforms are speaking the same language, ensuring that your marketing tech stack is connected, because once you hit the play button and you start marketing, you want to be able to track each and every one of those leads that come into your system. And you want to really start to put down goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, quarterly goals, and yearly goals, so that you can start to understand how your budget is being spent, what's the return on that, and how you're going to continue to grow. And number two is really getting that go to market platform and that strategy into play. And number three is analytics and understanding how to look at the data, very simplistic data. And number one is connecting your Google Analytics, because that's the number one data piece that you're going to start to really build traction to understand all the effort that you're doing. How is it translating into your website, and how are people navigating to really get to that click to purchase?
I love that. Getting to that point is the goal, and you've given us so much value today where we'll help everyone there get there. But now, since we're on the whole advice giving part of the show, what advice would you give to a founder who feels overwhelmed by all the marketing tools and trends out there?
It takes a village, and learn how to ask. And asking is not failure. We're all in this together, and 95% of our global GDP is covered by small business owners and entrepreneurs. So we need to stop talking about the big giants and really focusing on you guys. So whoever you know in your network that's connected to a marketer, have the conversation, have a consultancy with them, reach out to people, ask the questions that you need to be asking, utilize ChatGPT to support you with that. But perseverance, I mean, it's like Winston Churchill said, if you're in the dark, keep going. It really pays off because you're going to get somewhere.
I think that I couldn't have said it better. And now we're going to learn a little more about you. You ready?
Yes.
Let's dig deep. Which entrepreneur throughout history, dead or alive, would you choose to sit down with?
So there is a company that I absolutely hate their product, but I love them as a company, and that's Red Bull. I don't drink Red Bull. I've never drinking Red Bull, but I love what they have done. They have cornered every aspect of marketing, and why? Because they've built a community. You don't necessarily like their product, but you want to be part of that community, whether it is the different types of, sports or entertainment that they provide. And they have had no Nike budget. That sometimes their budget is probably a tech startup budget or a small business startup, but they look to spread at high impact, low cost, and community is always going to be one of the biggest things for any company. So when you're thinking about doing marketing, think about community and think about, where does my audience hang out? Where are my audience in big pockets in terms of a community, and go out and get them, whether it's online or in person, and you'll find them. Another beverage company that I think is just as interesting is Liquid Death. Think about how they first
With the
penetrated
can,
into the
yeah.
market. They didn't come up with a genius idea. They just put water in a beer can. But you know where they went? They went to festivals and they went to concerts. And people then shortly started to realize, I don't want to drink water out of a bottle because I don't look like a cool person. And also, it's flimsy and it gets hot within 10 minutes. I have this can, I put a koozie on it, and it's like I'm straight chilling, for a lack of a better term. And I stay hydrated and cool for the rest of the concert. So they really, really hit their community at a high impact and at a low cost.
I love that example there and just knowing your market there. If you had to pick a meeting location though to sit down with either of these founders, where would that be?
At a concert.
At a concert? I love it. Well, now that we
Within,
learned, go ahead.
within the community, listening to some great music, I think is a nice arena.
I love it. Well, what's next for you? Rest of 2025. What do you have in store?
Getting my book to market. It's been 2.5 years in the making, and it's
Oh,
really on the heels of getting there. So that is my end goal. So working with my publishers and really kind of helping to push that so we get it out before the end of the year.
congratulations on that. Can we get a sneak peek of anything? What can you share with us?
I just shared my 3-part process, which is going to be digging in deep into all of those different types
Nice.
of 3 parts and the individual. And there's going to be a lot of like worksheets in there. So a lot of support to really help you get empowered to understand how we think so that you stop wasting money.
I love that. And thank you for putting that out there. Be sure to reach back out to me when the book's done. We have a little YouTube series I do for fun called Writing with Authors. And we're waiting to record maybe two more because I would like to get like 10 recorded, then schedule them out. So definitely keep me posted. I'd love to help show you some light there. Do you think that you're going to be like a writer now? Do you love it where you're going to have a second book, or is this a one and done?
So I actually do have a second book coming out, but it's not. I'm one of I'd say a few authors. So that
Cool.
will hopefully come out in September, and then my main book will come out. I don't know. I do a lot of breath work, and a vision of another book came out in my breath work. So you never know. You never know. I mean, it's not for the faint-hearted. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And obviously 2.5 years is a long time. So if you're willing to put in that gusto, then I say do it. It's worth it, and I know it will be.
It's the best feeling once you get that first author copy in the mail. You see all that hard work just like holding in your hands. So everyone out there, hope that's motivation for you to get yourself started with a book. It is the best business card I never knew I needed. You can give them at events, sell them at events, give them to people as introductions, and they can also read your book before maybe working with you, right? They want to learn a little bit about you. You give them that resource. Thank you for sharing that. But we didn't we almost went too far, excuse me, where we didn't talk about your podcast. So we got to talk about that. We had such a fun chat. We just flew right through.
Yeah, no, thank you. So my podcast is called Uncomplicate It. And we really, want to help marketers uncomplicate the landscape of marketing. So I interview business founders and entrepreneurs and tech startups in every industry to understand their grit to great and really how they got their business to market. And I can tell you 90% of the time, it's not a Facebook ad campaign or a digital marketing campaign. And then on the flip side, on the other path, I also interview other marketers and we talk about the landscape of marketing, where it's going. Of course, AI is a huge conversation right now, but my playlist is what I'm most proud of. It's alphabetically organized. So you'll see that based on the
Nice.
industries and then a few things in there like email marketing, influencer marketing, so on and so forth as it relates to, oh, you want to learn more about this channel, then you can dive in there. Or, if you're in this industry, you can hear somebody who had launched something within your industry. But guys, one of the biggest thing is don't just pay attention and look at your competitors within your industry because you can learn a lot from other businesses that are doing cool things that you can replicate within your business.
Oh my gosh, I have some introductions for you in the marketing side, and I know we just had Sheila on the show. She's got another marketing podcast. She'd be a good connect for you.
Love that.
Everyone, yeah, of course, everyone. If you found value today, get ready for a little bit more. Where's the website, LinkedIn, whatever you're going by, and where to find the podcast and book.
So my website is SAMGHQ, so samgheadquarters.com. My Marketer Mentors is mymarketermentors.com, and you can find my Uncomplicated Marketing on Spotify Podcast, Apple Podcast, wherever you take in your podcast. And we also have a YouTube channel called Uncomplicated.
All right, everyone, go add some new podcasts to your queue and get ready for that book. Be sure to stay in contact by following her page so you know when that book is released. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today to that entrepreneur show and keeping this a top 2.5% global show. My name is Vincent A. Lancey, and I have a joy hosting this. Remember to subscribe to stay current with our community of entrepreneurs. And this week, we're signing off, both of us in Florida. Sasha, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.